Hi, folks. This is Steve Edwards, and I want to share with you several things today about what to look for in a mule trainer. Now, my ranch is in Arizona, about 60 miles from Phoenix, up in the Superstition foothills, and we're at the end of a dead-end road. I train apprentices. I help people with their mules and their donkeys as well. But there's a major difference between what a mule trainer needs to know compared to a horse trainer. Can a horse trainer do quite a few things to a mule and a donkey? Yes. The downside is they don't really have the understanding of how that mule thinks. That mule has that brains come from that daddy, the donkey. A lot of the confirmation comes from that mother, the horse. Combination of the two with some brain from the horse, brain from the mule, it's a donkey, it's pretty incredible. Now, that donkey will do a lot of natural things. He'll kind of be hesitant as to go to places. That right there, a lot of folks say it's stubborn. It's not stubborn. Never seen a stubborn mule ever. Never been around one. What I usually find is folks have a hard time communicating. It's pretty incredible when trainers will put the blame on the mule or the donkey rather than finding out how to spend time to fix the problem. Okay, now when we have a mule, we have a horse be the mother, father be the donkey, end result a hybrid called a mule. Now you can do a Hinny Mule. That Hinny Mule is the mother is the donkey, the father is the horse, and you end up with that cross. The only way you can really tell is if they're a Hinny or if they're a mule is a DNA testing. It's not longer ears, it's not shorter head, different body, horse-like features. No. The only way you can do it is DNA testing. There's not another way out there. Another thing, when you're looking at a mule, your mule has a donkey bone structure. I hear folks all the time say he's got a donkey back. There are several ways a donkey can have his back. Some of them are a little bit more rounded, some of them are a little bit more raftered, peaked, but they still have the donkey bone structure, and that spine does not change. So we have to understand there are times when that mule is questioning what you're doing. There are times that's the donkey side trying to say, let me spend some time thinking about this. And it's amazing. When you teach these mules, ask, tell, demand. Where do I get that? I get that when they pin their ears, they're asking you not to come no closer. Then they pin their ears, swish their tail, they're telling that mule or donkey, don't come closer. Then what happens next? Spin and kick. So you're going to do the same thing. You're going to ask, tail, demand. You're going to ask with a light bump on the lead rope. You're going to tail with a harder bump with the lead rope. And you are going to demand with sharp reprimands. Ask, tail, demand. You've got to speak the mule donkey language in order for them to understand. Next part. You're going to use your voice, hands, legs, and your seat. Voice. Shut up. Don't say nothing. Come on, Fluffy, let's go. It's okay. You can do it. I know you're smarter than me. Don't do that. He has no idea what you're saying. It makes you feel good, makes the trainer feel good, makes you feel good, but he has no idea. You know what he understands? Comfortable, uncomfortable. So if he comes up to a plastic sheet and says, I don't want to go across it, you're using a come-along hitch and not a rope halter, not a nylon halter, because you're making it uncomfortable where he's standing, more comfortable crossing the tarp, he'll cross it. Mules care more about their nose and less about their mouth. So therefore, when you're communicating and building a foundation, you are going to start with the nose first. You'll see horse trainers, their halters or the knots are clear up here by the cheekbones. That is not mule training. They need to be down here close to communicate to the nose, 2 fingers above the nostril. It needs to be close on the bottom to where you're using the nerves on the bottom of the chin. If a mule trainer understands a donkey, he's going to understand where to put the halter. That's really important. That's why I start with a come-along hitch. And if you look at some of my other videos, you'll be able to see what I do with a come-along hitch. Really important. Rope halter. Adjust that rope halter. So you're using a combination of the come-along hitch and the rope halter. Combination of the two. There again, I've got other videos on my store and what we have on YouTube that you can see. Now let's go to the next part. When it comes down to bitting, horse trainers use smooth snaffle bits. They use ring snaffles, they use D-rings, a lot of different things. When you use a smooth snaffle bit on a mule, you're thinking, oh, I'm going to be really nice and I'm going to be careful with my mule, my donkey, put big rubber cheeks on there so he doesn't hurt the corners of his mouth. Guess what you end up doing? You end up over pulling on this mule or donkey. I have seen more mules and donkeys brought to me that were trained with a snaffle bit, quote, the natural horsemanship, okay, and had split tongues on them. Split tongues, folks, from a smooth snaffle bit. Why is that? Because they tend to pull them, make them go, pull them to make them go, pull them to make them stop, pull them to make them back up. No, folks. If you use a double twisted wire O-ring bit, like you'll see in my Mule Riders martingales on these videos, that double twisted wire you'll see on my videos, it's far superior to a smooth snaffle bit. You barely have to pick up on it. You don't have to pull it. Your hands, your trainer's hands should move very little. Just turn my wrist. That is direction. Move my left hand, impulsion. Direction, impulsion. Here's your horn. Your hand should come from the left to the right, no further than your horn. Your horn, your hand should come no more from right to left to the horn. When you pull a lot like this, you are teaching them to tighten all 5 major neck muscles. You are teaching them to run through their shoulders. What do horse trainers do? They do lateral flexions. They bend their neck to the left. They bend their neck to the right. Here's the problem with that. Just like we take and do bicep strengths, all you're doing is making your mule's neck stronger. You're taking all 5 major neck muscles, the one along the crest of the neck, down through the center of the neck, the one along the esophagus, and 2 along the shoulder. You're making them stronger. Because here's what's going to happen one day. You're going to think, okay, I've got to do an emergency stop. I pick up on one rein, and I pull it around, and my mule goes around in a circle. Well, that's all well and good if you're not at the Grand Canyon, where it's 1,000 foot down here, it's 1,000 foot up here, and oh, one more thing, I have 5 pack mules behind me. How can I turn around in that trail and do a circle? An emergency stop? No. Come on, real life tells you that when you try and pick up on one rein, that mule will run through his shoulder just as fast as he can to the left or to the right as he can straight ahead. Disengage hindquarters. Horsemen do it all the time. They take and disengage the hindquarter to get one to stop. Listen, that mule can take that shoulder and run through there and take that hindquarter from you right now. See it all the time with people. I watch so-called mule trainers out in the pen, moving them around, trying to get them to go, and that mule's running through his shoulder all the time. Folks, you've got a donkey bone structure there. You have to deal with that. You don't disengage hindquarters, you disengage shoulders. That's what you do. Your hands are here. When my mule goes to the left, what do people do? They tend to pull them and go back to, they want to go to the right. Well, that just makes the mule run that much more faster. You take your hands, take your left hand, and you disengage the shoulder on the left-hand side. When you take your hands like this and turn it up, you'll take that shoulder away, and he won't go to the left. He'll go to the right like you want. But as soon as you pull on him, he's going to go around, and he's going to go just as fast to the left as he does straight ahead. You see? There's a difference. When I want one to stop, I'm going to go right brain, listen to me, left brain, listen to me, right, left, decrease intensity. Ask, tell, demand. And I'm going to get a stop. None of you pull up to a stop sign at your vehicle and turn your wheel to the right to get a stop. It don't happen. You want a straight stop. That's what I want with a mule. I want both brains thinking about stopping. I want the shoulders to be straight. I want the hindquarters to be setting down. So when I ask for a stop, I'm going to just barely touch the right rein. My left rein is going to be snug. I'm going to sit in my seat at the same time. I'm going to get a stop. Now that is foundational training only. One day when I got my mule really right, 2 reins, pick up on the rein, I got to stop. The other thing you got to consider when you're looking at a mule trainer, maybe see 1 or 2 other ones that he has around there. Ask him about his tack. Let him show you one of his better mules. Take it out and let him show you it doing side pass, turn on the forehand, turn on the hindquarters, on a loose rein, riding 80% off his legs. Look for that, okay? Next thing is his tack. If he tells you any saddle will work with his blanket up, climb in your truck and get the heck out of there. There's a major difference in bone structure of the donkey and the mule compared to the horse. Major difference. It's imperative you use a ride with a britchin. I don't care if it's flat ground, you still ride with a breeching. I don't care if it's light hills, you still ride with a breeching. Oh, I use a crooper, you say. Oh, you ride a crooper. That crooper is all bone altogether. If that mule pulls up that tail and that crooper's on there, it's going to break off. And even down below, last year, I had 3 of my clients, 2 of them, experienced mule people for a lot of years, had to put their mules down because they had broken tails because of that tail crooper. A tail crooper was designed for 6 to 8 pounds. Don't let any trainer tell you they don't need a breeching. You do need a breeching. Watch that saddle. It gets on top of the scapula, you're done. If that mule trainer is not using 2 cinches and the back one tighter than the front one, he doesn't understand the mechanics of a mule. Mules are V-shaped in their shoulders, like this. Horses are A-shaped in their shoulders. Okay? That saddle's going to go forward. Mules carry their weight down low. Horses carry their weight up high. Mules have an hourglass belly toward the shoulder. Horses have an hourglass belly toward the hips. Folks, there is a major difference. If he doesn't have the right equipment to make that mule go down the trail, to do round pin work and this sort of thing, you are creating problems for the future. Don't just use any saddle and say, I just want to use this old rough saddle. Listen, you are building a foundation. You hurt that mule, even the slightest amount of pain, pretty soon, he's going to want to move off because you're trying to climb in a saddle and you're putting pressure upon the 6th and 7th rib. Listen, mules' shoulders go up and down like pistons in a car. Horses run horizontal. You put that saddle up on top of that scapula, you're going to be getting this. That saddle should be 1.5 inches behind it. So when you're watching your rider and he's trying to impress you with his well-trained mule, don't let him tell you, oh, it's flat ground, I don't need to have a breeching. You watch that saddle. Within minutes it'll be on top of that scapula. Most horsemen that are trying to work with mules have the same vocabulary. You'll hear it time and time again. There's a lot of great horsemen. You know, Ray Hunt is just an example. You know, Tom Dorrance, awesome man. You know, lots of guys out there that have been phenomenal trainers over the years, okay? Phenomenal trainers. But like old Tom Dorrance said to me one time, Steve, a mule is like a horse, only more so. He also told me, he says, you know, Steve, I tried to pick up a front leg of a mule one time, and I still got the use of my nose. What did he mean by that? That back leg almost took his nose off. So he learned how to not pick up a foot on a mule. Listen, they're way different. I've talked to a lot of phenomenal horsemen, you know. Al Dunning, a very good friend of mine, 28-time world champion, reigning champion. He's had some of the top horses in the world, top ones. Won all kinds of championships, all kinds of money, had awesome horses. He will tell you, I don't want to train a mule. They're smarter than me. So, okay, let's look at the next thing, diet. When it comes down to these mules, they can't stand a whole lot of prosperity. Don't be feeding a whole bunch of carbohydrates, alfalfa, grains, and this sort of thing. If a trainer knows what to feed, he's going to be starting out with a low carbohydrate hay. He's only going to feed grain when he needs it, when he has a loss of energy, where he needs to pick up the energy, or if the mule is starting to break off in weight a little bit. He'll know, but you need to ask him what his feed program is, what his nutritional program is. That's extremely, extremely important, okay? Feed. Next thing, look at the area around. How clean is it? How nice are the corrals? You know, you got to think about it. If you're going to be spending $800 a month, $600 a month for training, you don't want your mule to be stepping on nails or problems. You want to have good, clean corrals, good, clean water. Make sure that he understands that you would like a phone call at least once a week to update you. How is my mule doing? A professional trainer will be calling you. I love calling my clients and say, hey, wow, you should have seen how old Fluffy done today. He did awesome. He did this, 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 and this. It's important that you keep the communication going. Once in a while, call him up and, hey, I want to come down and see how you're doing. Or surprise him sometimes. Not the best thing in the world. I don't really like to have folks just all of a sudden show up. But surprise him once in a while and kind of see what's going on. The other thing is, you don't need to train every day, 7 days a week. Don't be doing that. If you know anything at all about equine, you know they can mentally and physically break down on you. It's easy to bow a tendon, get them too hot. It's real easy to cause wind puffs and a lot of other problems with animals, all right? Really, really easy. So it's not important. It needs to be important that the mule will be trained on his timing. His timing, not your timing, not the trainer's timing. Oh, I only want to do 30 days. You are wasting your money and your time. 6 months builds a foundation. You want to do at least 90 days at a time. 3 30-day training periods, 5 days a week, an average of 4 to 6 hours a day. I mean a week. A day, pardon me, a day. Okay? That don't mean you're going to be riding them all the time. They can be tied to a hitching post. They can be on a hot walker. They can be in a wagon, but not a corral, not a pasture. They need to have something to do. Be standing with hobbles, lots of things to do. Being ponied out, using to be ponied, lots of things. Now, the other thing is, ask your trainer, how many mules do you have here to train each month? Okay? 4 to 6 mules a month is a lot of mules to be training. You figure 2 hours a day, just 4 mules, there goes a day. So you want to think about that as well. How many mules do you have here that are in training? And on top of that, how many do you have on your own? And let me ask you something. If he's selling mules as well, where's he going to have time to show the mules and work your mule at the same time? Consider that, okay? So again, talk to veterinarians. Hey, how does Joe Mule Trainer doing? How good of a trainer? Have you heard about him? Ask Farrier. Have you heard about Joe Mule Trainer? Ask folks. Talk to folks who's had their mules trained. Look on the internet. See what they have to say. This is just a few things, boys and girls, as to what to look for in a mule trainer. Not a horse trainer, okay? Now, some mule trainers can certainly train on horses. I've seen it time and time again. One thing I can tell you for sure, is that I'm a better horseman because of what I learned from the mule. Let me know what I can do to help. Got lots of information out there on YouTube, Instagram, on my website at www.muleranch.com. You can always email me, steve@muleranch.com. Call me or text me, 602-999-MULE, 6853. Hey, hope you have a great year. Let me know what I can do to help you with your mule and donkey. Bye-bye.